All right, guys, welcome back to Surviving Hollywood. I'm Johnny Ray Diaz.
I am Aaron Arnold.
I'm Austin Arnold.
And today we're sitting here with our good friend,
Best friend,
guest, Brian Shakti.
actor, filmmaker, great guy.
Guy does it all.
Thank you.
Acting in New York, acting in LA.
So what do we talk to him? What was this podcast all about?
One of my favorite things was talking about New York versus LA. If you're an actor, what are the differences? That came about midway through.
And also the importance of not just being an actor, but also being an actor that actually creates content. It's a new world out there. You have to do it.
Brian gives us the insight on all that stuff. He's made his own stuff. He's worked with us. And
Brian, if you had to sum up this episode in one sentence, how would you do it?
I would sum it up in one word.
What is it?
Papua.
nice.
We talk about Papua, the short film we all created together.
I like that.
And you guys can hear more details about it today.
And my favorite part, stay tuned until the very end where we chat about fantasy football.
I wish the podcast was about football and movies. Can we just do that podcast?
do it.
Football and movies.
These guys tried to make it that way.
Please.
Brian, give us a call to action and we'll roll right in.
Action.
Brian, how long have we been friends with each other?
Wait, are we recording?
No, we're not. We haven't started yet. Yeah, we've started.
We did.
I mean, we just generally roll into it. If this
Yeah.
conversation, the first 3 minutes is bad, we'll cut it out. And we'll start whenever it gets interesting.
Yeah, let's cut all that beginning.
It was when you guys first came into town, right?
When?
It
You
was
mean
like,
when we were
what, 7 years ago?
in class?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were in
5
town
years
for a
ago.
couple months before that, but it was pretty close.
Yeah, we were in class the first day together.
Nice.
That was my first class, and that was your guys' first class.
Well, you guys started the same day.
At the
Yeah.
at the Magic.
Really?
Yeah. The Magic Theater.
Oh,
Wait, hold on a second. You guys were at the Hilton.
But we were in that thrust space, that like black box theater. That was where we audited.
I
I
actually...
thought that was later. Wasn't that later? The Magic Theater in
We-
Glendale?
it
Is that
was-
the one in
we went-
Glendale?
Yeah, that was in Glendale, but we went back and forth to that Hilton.
Magic was the first night I audited. Was in that Magic place.
Which is weird because I joined when it was at the Hilton, and I never remember it going back and forth.
Well, you were there before me.
I know, but it wasn't that much before you.
Right.
It was like maybe like 2 months, maybe.
And what
Few
was it
months.
about that class that we were all in that you thought, I want to join that class?
Well, I actually, I wasn't in a class for a while, and I remember I saw this weird email coming over. It looked like a scam email, and it was I was working as a manager at the time, and one of our clients saw it, and they said, "Oh, I think I'm gonna go over and do this." So I went and checked it out, and I liked a lot of the stuff that Ryan said. I thought,
What do you say? The scam email. You
I
liked
don't.
it.
It was some one of those things that's like, oh, if you're doing, of course his
Do you
voice
need
wasn't
help?
there. Yeah. If you think acting is this, or you want to be trained by the best in the business, or something like that, it was like, all right, I'll check this out. And I remember going and I audited the class. I really liked it, and it was on a real shoot day.
What'd you like about it? I know what I liked about it.
I liked Ryan. I liked how he was like no bullshit. I liked how he just got to the point right away. And there were about 3 or 4 things he said. He was speaking as a director and somebody who was behind the scenes instead of somebody who's just like, oh, I'm an acting teacher and I'm going to teach you just how to be an actor on the front side. Like there were a lot of things he said that was great, like your eye line and like, acting to be editor proof and a lot of things like that you don't really think about or you never taught in a regular acting class.
What I liked about the class is when I audited, I saw people like Sharonis, James Lake, probably Johnny, like Pescio. I was like, man,
No, I was terrible.
Any women?
At the beginning.
no, because what I remember is there were women too, but there was Tarnisha and there was Ramona.
Yeah.
But what I remember is I was like, man, all these people seem not only like they're good actors, but they seem like I could be friends with these people.
Yeah,
They seem
yeah.
cool. I was right for about half of them, but
Yeah, because I remember I audited and then I didn't join for about another month and a half because I was
On the
shooting
fence?
a film. No, I was shooting a
Okay,
film.
okay.
And I didn't want to like,
humble brag.
You don't want to pay for.
I didn't want to pay and start. I wanted to just be done shooting the film and then go over
A
there.
real question though, I never got the email, but how do you think Ryan got your email? Like,
No,
Did
it
everyone
was,
get emails?
It was one of the actresses. I think what he was doing was he was going on IMDb, looking at hot actresses, and just probably sending it to all them.
You think so?
I don't know, 'cause-
how's that explain you then?
Well, because I got it from the actress. I didn't get the email, but the actress was just like, "Oh, do you think this is a scam?" I'm like, "Probably. I'll go check it out." And I went. I was like, "Oh no, this is kind of cool."
Sasha.
But why do you think only hot actresses?
I don't know. I'm just saying that.
Is that how you guys found? Oh no, John Madison.
John
Yeah.
Madison.
I remember John in class. Yeah, that's right. That was. You guys joined like 2 months after he got there, right?
I don't know when he joined.
I'm not sure.
We hung out with him. He said, "You got to join this class." I said, "I'll see about that." And I came in and I liked it.
There you go. So
We got to get Ryan on the pod.
Yeah, right.
you know,
It'd be great for our final episode.
What were you saying, Austin?
I was
Hey,
saying Sasha.
I'll be a guest star on that one.
Sasha. We'll
All right,
bring
let's
you in
get into it.
halfway.
Whoa. So
Sasha,
Brian,
Sasha was good.
Are you and Ryan cool?
I have no idea.
Our old teacher.
I don't know.
I think you still have a respect for him,
I have a respect for him as a teacher.
right?
Let's just leave it there.
Okay, you brought it up. All right. If you're interested in how Brian feels, the inside scoop, comment below or write in, and we'll email you the story. Anyway, Sasha, what were you saying?
yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter anymore, but Sasha got invited to Ryan's class because he got an email
He's
through,
hot.
through Actors Access.
He's a hot girl. Oh wait,
Well, he probably thought Sasha. Oh, it's a girl's name.
that might have been it. Anyway,
So that's how Sasha.
Ryan does have an affinity for the hotter girls. Not that he's banging them.
Yeah.
Well, don't you have an affinity for the hotter girls?
Yeah. I'm not in a position of power.
but you could be.
I wish.
Start your own class. That's the whole method. I remember when I was in the first class when I audited, it was at the Hilton, I think. Yeah, it was at the Hilton, and I remember Sharonis was in class, Ramona was in class, and I know they did a scene together. I want to say it was from 6 Feet Under.
They were great actors.
That narrows it down. They did like scenes every week.
And they-
I
together.
know
They killed
I know.
Yeah, they did.
But I remember watching it, and I really hadn't had any formal acting training ever. And I watched it, and I was like, I can't do that. I was just like, oh my God. I was just like, I hope I don't have to do a scene.
Why couldn't you do it? Just because.
I never done a scene study class. I had never done any formal acting training. I had done a basic community college acting class that was like breathing techniques or something. That was basically it. And
But but with that,
I saw it and I was like, dude, these people are good.
They were really good because Ramona was really good and Sharon was
Yeah.
really good. I remember seeing them. They did a scene from the show Martin.
Oh yeah,
The
yeah.
sitcom.
Uh-huh.
And he played Martin probably, and she played whatever. What was Martin's wife?
Well, why did he play him? Because he's black?
I remember
Because he's the lead.
because he liked the show. But I remember Ryan saying, "You can take a lot of things out of Martin's playbook. If I were you, I wouldn't take anything out of Will Smith's playbook because you're already like you could you're like charismatic like Will Smith, but take a lot of stuff out of Martin's playbook." And anyway, it was a great scene. I thought, man, I could never like. It's like I could never like find this like sitcom vibe and like killed it with the laughs.
I didn't see that one. I remember the first thing I did was Something About Mary.
Which scene?
I did it.
Great Ben Stiller flick.
I did the scene with there was this girl in class. I can't remember her name now. She was actually really cool. Gina, I think. Gina. Do you guys remember her?
No.
She was there for a few months. I was like, hey, I want to do this scene from this movie. It was a scene where Woogie is going after her because has an obsession with shoes.
Is that
You guys
the
remember
end?
that character?
In the office?
It was with the guy from
Yeah,
what's the guy's name again?
I don't know what you're talking about, but it's the guy. It's the guy from Scary Movie 2
Yes,
with the bad arm.
with the bad arm. Yeah, use my good arm.
Oh, yeah,
use my
yeah.
good hand. You know
Guy's
that
funny.
dude.
Yeah, yeah.
And I literally like my technique was like, let's watch this movie
Yeah.
20 times and do the same thing this guy did.
That was the guy that's on Schitt's Creek.
Yeah.
I haven't
What's his
seen it.
name?
Haven't seen
He was
the
in
show.
Osmosis Jones.
Get a life. The guy Chris Elliott.
Chris Elliott.
Chris
That's
Elliott.
right. That's
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
I
Funny
remember that
movie.
show, Get a Life.
I don't remember
mean,
that
that's-
movie. Or that
No,
show.
it was a show. It was like he was basically an older guy that lived with his mom, and he was a paper boy.
That hit close to home.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what you got going on, dude?
You're doing something after this.
Yeah. I'm working. So it was actually Melissa, one of the directors we met at the film festival.
We're gonna talk about Papua, the short film we all made together. But this is another director we met at that film festival.
So she does like actor reels, and I've worked with her doing being the other actor hired on the person that's doing the reels. So, you know, it's fun just to kind of like, because they really bring a nice camera, a nice setup. I'm going to Envision Studios, they're shooting over there.
Nice.
So they're doing like 5 scenes today.
Wait, isn't that in Santa Monica?
No, Burbank. That's where we did Palisades.
Palisades.
Yeah,
right,
Palisades.
Okay.
So yeah, so
How'd you book that?
She's
used you before.
She used
I remember
me
you showed me a
before.
clip with a cop. Right?
Yeah. She used me before, and then they just booked me for today and tomorrow for 2 different scenes. And the cool thing is, get paid for it, get to do it,
and you get the reel too.
And I get the reel too. So
do they get coverage of you as well?
Yeah.
Cut across.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I'll show you the other one that I sent. It was good coverage of me.
So I'm curious. Like I'm familiar with these things that they do. How much does it cost the other actor? Because the other actor is basically paying for the whole thing.
Yeah, I think it's a lot.
Like a couple thousand.
I would say so.
Whoa, a couple thousand?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
last time you told me they shoot on like a red.
Yeah, they shot on a red. They have like and Melissa's
full crew.
She's just the EP
and location.
Like she's not even the director of it. There's a director. There's a camera guy.
Is it her
there's
boyfriend who's the director?
Yeah. But then there's like, you know, just people work. There's 3 set people.
Yeah, and
you know,
they're
renting
using
locations,
a set, so they're paying a lot of money.
and they're writing it together. They have like the wardrobe. They have craft service. Like it's like a.
Now, you were telling me off mic, you also auditioned for a short film she did the other day, and you thought you thought you came in guns blazing, full, you know, in character. Character's a little bit racist, and you thought the audition didn't go as you thought it was kind of awkward.
Yeah, I mean, it was awkward. It was like it's weird. You know, when you go into a room sometimes and you just don't feel the vibe.
Well,
and
you saw that she was casting this on Actors Access, so you submitted and you sent her a text saying, "Hey, I'm auditioning for this."
Yeah. And then she called me right in. She's like, "Hey, I come in on Thursday." I'm like, "All right, cool." So I go in and, you know, it's the one I got cast. And this is another thing too. So when I did on the real shoot, I played this what the hell you talking about, like sort of character.
Willis.
Like, yeah, I was like Willis. Yes. Yeah. I brought very different strokes in.
No. It was
And, and when I did that, it was like, that was kind of like a slimy hillbilly sort of character. And, you know, that's kind of like in my wheelhouse that I do.
Yeah, you do a lot of those guys.
Yeah. But I went and I'm like, he was a total racist guy, you know, was yelling at this Indian guy, calling him a towel head, this, and just, it was.
Oh, daily life for you, right?
Is this PG?
Dude, we're recording.
Just kidding. Whoa.
So I went there, but instead of doing that like hillbilly accent, I went and did like a New York accent because I was working on a New York character.
Can you give us some
for the
what the hell you think you're doing? You know,
for the audition for the
audition, and like there were 6 people in the room besides her, and I think there were the producers and writers and stuff, and they were all like Indian.
And she was probably
really?
Yeah, and they were all there, and I think they just didn't feel like I was intimidating enough for that. And as I left, it was one of those things that's like, oh, I should have just did that Southern thing. Because that's like...
You said it was very awkward.
It was awkward.
Just because, I don't know, she acted weird.
Well, I mean, it wasn't necessarily her. It was the vibe in the room. Yeah. You know, sometimes when you go into a room and you feel like they're not digging you, you all know if they like you or not.
I had one of those yesterday. I get it, dude. I walked in there and I was just like, the vibe's not good here. Literally no notes, no feedback, no nothing. Thanks. That's all we need.
Yeah. My worst audition. It was for like I had like 2-3 lines going into like some sort of like good TV show. I was like excited to audition for this part, and I just had like 2-3 lines, and I go in.
Forgot all of them.
Dude, I forgot all of them, and I couldn't get it. I was 2 in my head. I had to stop halfway through, and I said, "It's all defeated. I'm sorry. Can I start this again?" And she said, "Sure, no problem."
Don't ever say sorry again.
I know. And then I do it, forget the lines again, and I said, "I'm sorry, one more time." And then it happens a 3rd time, and I say,
"Why don't you just have the script in your hand, dude?"
I say, "I don't remember," but I say, I'm sorry. This is it." And she said, "All right, this is the last time because we have other people to see." And it was awful.
What show?
Oh man, it was probably like a FX type.
Wasn't that what you said was Game of Thrones,
cable,
right?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Dude, you would have booked that if they had grapes on the table.
Yeah, exactly. That's my
Let's go to. That's or callbacks.
Yes.
So, but the awkwardness of isn't it weird though? Because like you just audition and then and then she's like, "All right, well, see you on set the next day.
Well, no, yeah,
whatever.
I mean,
It's like, what happened to all that respect you gave me as a filmmaker from this?
Yeah, but it's the weird thing, you know, as an actor, I'm going through my head. I'm like, oh, I fucked up. She's never going to do that, like, never work with me again. It's like, you have all that stuff going on, but it's like...
She's like, hey, Brian, you know what? Actually, we don't need you to come in tomorrow.
but you also know, you've all been on the other side of it when you're casting. And you know sometimes someone's not there. You're not thinking of them like, oh, they're like a crappy actor. I'm never going to work with them again. It's just like they're not right. But like... when you're on both sides, you understand it. If you're just an actor and you're never on the other side, you never really understand what it's like to be the person making the decision and how hard it is and how it's not about the talent. It's about other things you're looking for, chemistry, a look, or something.
Is she directing this?
She was directing it, yeah. And
is there a reason why she even auditioned you? Like, she already knows you?
Probably just because she knew me. She's like, oh, you know, he's...
No, but I'm saying she could have just been like, hey, you know what? You just play the role.
Yeah, she could have.
But
She probably wasn't making the decision. It was probably the other guys doing that.
I see.
You know, but also it's just a thing. Like my roommate, she's casting and she does a lot of big things, and they see big people come in all the time, and sometimes it's just not right. Sometimes they want to call people in for other things, but then it's like, you know, they're just not right for it, and it's not a personal thing. And you guys know from casting stuff, it's not personal sometimes. It's
or is it very personal?
Could be. Depending on what your name is or what you look like. You look like someone's ex.
Just totally contradict Brian.
Everything he said is out the window.
No, but you said something too about like going in and it's like sometimes you get a bad vibe from a room.
Just the energy is bad.
But the thing is,
it's not, you know what I mean?
But sometimes it's not a bad energy in the room. Sometimes you just don't have chemistry with the people.
That's true.
Because it's all a chemistry fit. It's not a chemistry fit for you and the other actor. It's a chemistry fit for you and the people creating the project. Sometimes it's just not, like, you know, sometimes if you're on a first date, right? Within 5 seconds on a first date of when the person comes, you know if it's going to be good or if it's going to be bad. A lot of times. Sometimes you don't.
I'll push through and make it work.
Yeah, but sometimes
she's
with
a
that,
Trump supporter. It's okay.
No, I know what you mean.
even if you push through, the initial chemistry isn't there. And I think with casting, it's the same thing. You come in and you're auditioning for a date. You want to date these people. You want to hang out with these people for, depending if it's a short or a feature, either a couple days or like, you know, a couple months, or could be a year depending on the project.
Till death.
Or till death.
I would say you're right, because when I cast something, or I would much rather work with people who I like to just hang out with rather than, you know, necessarily.
Even if they're not good.
Well, here's the thing.
Which is why we're all here.
I only want to hang out with people who are good. Those are only my friends and only the people I'd cast. Which explains why we asked you to be in our short Papua.
That was fun. Yeah.
Good times.
Let's talk about Papua a little bit, because that's how we actually
for the
met
folks at
Melissa,
home. What the hell
too.
is Papua?
So we referenced Papua multiple times on this podcast. For you guys that don't know, Papua is a short film that we all produced and created
and acted in.
Austin wrote it.
It's award-winning.
Brian played Papua, which is what it's all about, and that's how we met a lot of filmmakers.
The title character.
And Johnny directed.
Was it hard?
I directed it.
Was it hard learning all those lines for the title
very
character?
hard.
What did you do for your preparation as Papua?
You know,
well, just a brief summary. It's us.
Break it down.
Us three people. It's a dark comedy, not for everybody, but us three, two sons and childhood friend, go to visit our dying father in the hospital, and basically
Johnny's the friend, and you guys
play the
are the
friend.
sons.
These are the sons, and that's the dad.
And we have to basically, you know, say our goodbyes, right?
And as we say our goodbyes, secrets are unveiled that will unveil
change our lives forever.
It sounds like you're giving a sales pitch.
Give us the log line. What's the log line?
Well, every Uber ride that we went to at the film festival, I was giving that sales pitch.
That's true.
I thought the sales pitch is, we have multiple ideas in development or something like that.
The sales pitch
what
is
it? Dove told us.
We have various
projects in
multiple stages of development.
Dude, you guys don't remember this, but also that same conference, that same time we heard Dove speak,
which is the Chandler Film Festival.
Yeah, he was talking about. This was in early 2018. He was talking about. He was like, you know what? I'm gonna make my own cryptocurrency. It's a film coin.
Who said that?
Dove.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm tired. I've lived my whole life, and this is finally something I'm gonna do. I see the future. He was just talking about like it was a big deal. Now, obviously, we know like all these altcoins died, but it's just
Do you ever look up his coin?
He never I can't.
Yeah,
remember.
it's called Dove.
But we do have future projects because I wrote a feature film for all of us.
Actually, you remember one thing Dove said? He's like, you guys are adults.
Yeah.
Stop making short films.
Exactly.
That's for kids.
This is how you do it.
All right.
So, you know, it's funny because that feature film I started writing after we got home from Chandler, from that film festival.
You got slapped in the face with inspiration.
I did. Actually, it could have been him that did it. It was him, but it was also us being there.
Winning the Chandler Film Festival, best comedy short.
What was it about being in Chandler, us four as a group, that you thought was special?
You know, it's interesting because I feel like the chemistry, something about the chemistry of the four of us can really work a room well. There's something that each one of our personality brings to. And if one of us wasn't there for a certain film festival, it wasn't the same.
When Johnny left, it was sad. He had to leave early for like a project.
Hey, I left and you guys won. I was good luck.
No, but even the other ones, even the other film festivals we went to, like if Austin wasn't there one day, like it would be different.
How are our energies different? Like how are we complementary?
You know what? I don't know. Like there were certain things like Aaron, you are really good at breaking the ice and just going in and just not giving a shit and saying things that just kind of like. No.
Right.
You know,
I'm very good at like the initial icebreaker, and I always thought Johnny was good at then carrying the conversation further.
I'm not good at starting the conversation. I'm good at carrying the conversation.
Yeah. And I'm good at that too. But I also talk about other stuff. Like I'll be talking about life issues and stuff, and talking about like stuff not even the film industry.
Yeah,
you
you're
know,
good too.
That's true. Brian's good at maintaining the relationship at the festival and beyond.
Sometimes, you know? Yeah.
All of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm hanging out with so-and-so. We met at the thing. And I'm like, really? Oh, all right. That's cool. You know?
Hey, what's Austin good at? We kind of...
Yeah. You know, we get it.
Well, just kind of
I wrote it.
Austin stands there. We poke fun of him and people laugh at him. And that's how we get it going.
Yeah. And then you guys have me get the beers.
That's true.
Just kidding. Anyway.
So for the folks at home who maybe haven't been at a film festival, Brian, what's something like that you know now that we've gone through that circuit that you didn't know before we got Papua into those festivals?
So the one, I mean, know or just kind of like just learn. So one thing is like having really good quality content at a festival is really powerful.
Oh, well, that's everybody has that. Everybody says,
get in,
but everybody says I got the best short.
No. But it's actually having it, not saying you have it.
But how do you know? You don't know.
Everybody thinks they have it.
Not really. But I don't know, because the thing is, I think we didn't know if we had it. We came in being like, I don't know if this is going to be good. This is going to be all right. We went there, and from the reaction of other people, like you couldn't fake that, and we won that first festival. You know?
No, we knew though. We knew that we had a project.
But I'm saying those projects that we watched, they were like, this one's not as good. They thought they were great.
It's true.
That is true.
Can I just say
but this is a thing too. It's like we already know like our project was good. You know, maybe to some eyes not great, but it definitely wasn't a shitty project. It wasn't something going in and people would be embarrassed, being like, look at the quality. That's like our quality was really great. Like. Dan, our DP, was amazing. He made it look incredible. And just with us on just working together before, we know our chemistry and we know what each other brings.
Sometimes we finish each other's
sandwiches.
Yeah.
Sentences plural.
Dude, can I just say for the folks at home, as far as, you know, these other films in the festival not being good, there's nothing worse than being in a dramatic short film block and realizing you're only halfway through the first one and you got 45 minutes left to go because they're just hellish.
Well, the worst is if it's a feature and it's not good.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
So I think being in a festival and having something quality, and then also being honest with a support team. Because like if you're there if I'm there by myself, I'm the worst.
Dennis was there by himself. And
Yeah. But the thing is, if I'm by myself, I'm not the best at talking to people or breaking the ice. I'm really good at connecting when I'm there and talking to people, but like I personally need people with me.
It's you need a buddy. It's good to have a buddy. Someone to bounce ideas off of too.
Exactly. Oftentimes they only give you 2 comp tickets though. So you can't have that many people unless you're going to pony up the dough.
Unless you're going into Chandler and you probably need to pay for anything.
Yeah, you still drink tickets.
How about working on our short film? Can you like tell us your experience for that? So we basically, we decided to partner up all 4 of us later. But at that time, we just like asked you to be like an actor in it. But then we pretty much like you were just like, you're basically just like us helping us make decisions and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is. What I think made it work so well is we workshopped that for months. You know, we brought it to the acting class with it, and we really got a lot of the feedback from there. So if we just did what was written from the beginning on the first draft, or what we thought it was, it probably wasn't going to be that good. But it got better and better as we went. And there were some scenes that I was doing in there and we were all doing, and the response we had from everybody laughing, I was kind of confused because I remember first time I read it, I'm like, I don't really get it. What? But like, all right, I'll do it. Like, this is cool.
As a favor to you guys, I'll do it. But.
No, just wanting to work with you guys.
On set, he kept joking around. I'll call SAG. I'll call them.
Our short was
it was a union project.
Yeah, it was.
If there's anything, if I don't get cut for lunch at the right time, I'm calling SAG.
Right. But I think workshopping it and just really just working out the kinks, like up until the night before.
The night before, some of our best jokes, I thought, were like we're punching up the night before, like the Spider-Man joke. Like, it was almost a Martin Luther King joke.
That needed help because that other joke,
Which joke?
The Spider-Man one.
It was good.
I'm glad you changed it.
What was it before?
I don't know. I forget. It was a book reference or something. And I was like, I don't know if people are going to get that.
But it was almost, because we were just trying to think of any sort of like quote that would be fun. Right. We almost had Martin Luther King quote, but then just something about that Spider-Man quote was so dumb and funny.
Also, not even the night before, day of, Johnny comes in with rewrites to his little
monologue. Yeah, he writes the poem, and that poem is brilliant.
You kept telling me, like, this is your moment to, like, say something. I'm like, what do I say, though?
Well, in the script, Austin left it pretty vague, saying, Johnny just needs you to kill it in this one part, say whatever you want.
I was just like, okay, here we go.
And the funny thing about working it so much is, like, when we do scenes, especially in the beginning, we crack ourselves up sometimes, you know? I'm not going to name anybody, but there's one person at this table that really laughs a lot.
Austin?
Yes? Oh, one of the...
Definitely.
Yeah,
dude, on the set, I was telling everybody, shut up, guys.
You were actually the most serious on the set. Yeah. That was the most serious I ever saw you.
I always laugh. Yeah.
There's a time to laugh and there's a time to be serious.
But on the set, I don't think we cracked once. No, like I was even the opposite. I fell asleep during one of the scenes.
we were very aware that we were paying for this location and we had a hard out.
Guys, we have to hurry up and get out of here.
So yeah, you didn't. You were so into your character. This guy on his deathbed. Who couldn't get access to water. You didn't drink the whole day. No. You fell asleep on the hospital bed.
In the middle of it was your coverage, and I started snoring right in the middle of your coverage.
That's the take we used.
Yep.
It was good though. It was good. What would you say you after working on that project? I mean, I feel like it went pretty well, but there was obviously it's not perfect. No project really is. What did you learn from that as more of a filmmaker perspective, not the acting?
That you're going to bring to your shoot with Melissa later.
What changed for you?
I think one thing that I don't know if it changed, but it more like I love making projects with friends, and that's one thing that I
love movies.
No, I do, but the thing is just really making good projects with people you trust and people that like. You know are good actors and people that know you really well and know what you can bring to the table. Because like a lot of times you get cast in something and people don't know you. Yeah. They want you to do certain things and don't know what you're capable of or anything. Like we know each other so well from working in class for so many years and we worked on another project after. We worked on Letters to or From God.
Letter from God.
And that's being edited right now. And we just know what we bring and there's such a certain trust that we have. That's why, you know, Judd Apatow works with all the same actors and all these directors and actors like to work with the same actors because they trust them, you know? And like, I feel like working with you guys, it's just so much fun. That's why I wrote the feature with you guys because it's so much fun when we did that one and did the other ones. It's like, let's just do a feature together and just make it work, you know?
I think what's cool about like doing both, like acting and work, like producing the project, I think it makes it that much more rewarding.
Yeah.
Like totally. Actually, you're more proud of it than if you were just in it.
Yeah.
You're like, I would put this together. So we did Letter from God. For the audience that doesn't know, we met some filmmakers at the Chandler Film Festival who lived in Burbank, and we connected with them because they really liked Papua, and they wanted to create this concept of
their thing
of letters. Right. They had a good project with what's his name again?
Tom Proctor.
And he won, right? Best actor. Right?
Yeah, he did.
Or something.
He did.
Yeah.
But he won Best Actor and Actress. It was a combined award.
Yeah, he cleaned up. Anyway, so we met these filmmakers, and they wanted to create this sort of series based on a thread of a letter, like a letter is in each short film or whatever it is. And we ended up producing in this project called Letter from God. How do you compare that experience to Papua? Like creating those two projects, because it's different now. Because now you have all these cooks in the kitchen.
Very different. Very different.
So
it was different because we from Papua, we came from a very like, all right, we don't.
Yo, bro, you want to film this today or whatever?
No, but it's like we came from like, all right, we need to nail down the acting of it right before and really work on that and work on the script and work on everything. And then when we were coming in and shooting, it's like there's certain things. It's like, we're not looking for city permit. We're not looking to like the most expensive things that we can do. Working with Letter from God, there is so many cooks in the kitchen, and a lot of these people are used to working on bigger budget films. So they're looking at like, all right, well, we have to have a stunt coordinator for this. We have to have this. It's like, no, we don't need all this stuff. We could just do it. And the budget basically got really crazy on that, which we didn't really need. There's a lot of the stuff that's there.
Well, I'm sure they would blame, we have equal responsibility for a big budget, right? I mean,
we do, but the thing is, because also, and this is another thing too, with that film, we're shooting 7 short films. So we were shooting 3 films in 3 days, and that was one of them.
We only should have done 2.
Yeah.
But the other thing too is we got extra lights and extra things that we didn't really need for the project.
But they would blame RDP for that because that was RDP.
But that's too many cooks in the kitchen.
Right.
That's too many people on the project,
right.
And it was like, to really focus on it, you needed to put 100% on it. And we were able to do it on that day, but the other days, just working on the other stuff, it was just a little, because we basically didn't really have the story fully connected until maybe the day before. Like there were still a lot of holes in it.
Well, that's our strategy with Papua too.
It's true. That actually did work with that.
Yeah.
And I think just because we looked at the raw footage, we looked at the first cut, it actually didn't look that bad. I think it looked pretty good. I think just even not looking that bad on a first cut, I think it could be pretty good just to cut the right way.
I think it'll be okay. There's definitely some stuff we didn't get, but I think I was more worried about the story.
Yeah.
I think that was the biggest problem, because even up to the day of shooting, we're like, what's
this about?
What is this about even? I don't know. And there's something there. I think everyone.
Look, it's not going to be as good as Papua, but that's our fault.
So go in with those.
I don't think it's going to be as like worse than Papua. I think it's just going to be. It's a different story.
I think it's objectively going to be worse, but it's not bad.
Sorry
for having an opinion.
Well, this is one of the producers on it, Bryn. She was just like, when she was watching our run through right before we shot, she goes, "Oh, I get it now." Because sometimes there are things on when you read the script, you don't really get it. But then when you see the actors come together and make it make sense, it's like, oh, this is where it makes sense. Like somebody was saying they read, I think it was the script. Oh, there was one script. Oh, it was somebody that were actually on set of Ghost. Back then Ghost was,
to me,
great movie. But like right now, I don't know if it even holds up well.
Whoopi Goldberg,
but
from The View.
Yeah.
Is that what she said or what?
But one of the set people said they were watching it being shot. And some of the crew people were laughing at each other, being like, "Oh my God, this is like the biggest,
stupid
piece of garbage that we've ever seen. Like, what is going on?" And then when they put it together and there were the special effects and everything, they were like, "Holy shit, we never even saw that."
We just need to throw in a ghost or two, and we'll be good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Little special effects.
That's the way it goes. I mean, I think that this film I think it'll be fine. We'll see. I have all the footage. The footage looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
I've combed through it. I've looked at it. The shots look really great. Shout out to Dan Rink.
Yeah. It's just a story, which is me and Austin's fault.
And there was certain coverage that we didn't get that I really wanted to.
I would have liked,
and I think we can still get it with that opening shot. We could still do that
if we get the camera.
I would have liked to do more takes on some of the more pivotal acting performances.
I agree. It definitely felt rushed at the end, and it also helped that we were understaffed. Like Dan was basically running lights and DPing and like
we had our light guy get sick.
Right. So it just literally was just like him kind of doing everything. And I was like, okay, dude, let me help you. But it's just like, I don't know lighting like he does.
And you're thinking of the shots and stuff.
Yeah. And it was just really.
Johnny's very calm as the director on set. The more stress, he just gets quieter and calmer.
Yeah. Johnny, make a decision. I don't know. I'm just going to walk away. I'm just going to walk
This
away.
is you.
Now.
This is you, Johnny. Okay. Okay.
No. Well, and I remember too, also, I was like, it was around that time that I was dealing with the kidney stone.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just like, dude, my side's hurting right now. And I was just like, is it that time, dude? Is it gonna pass? Is it gonna pass? I'm gonna pull a Kramer.
That would have been
if we got that on camera, that'd be cool.
Anyway, but
on the red.
You directed a movie with a kidney stone.
Dude, that's the way to do it. It's the
Johnny
only way.
Ray Diaz.
So, Brian, I have a question.
Shoot.
Do it.
We want to hear the real story now, Brian. Enough with the bullshit. Let's hear the real story. Austin, go ahead.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks for the generalization.
It's gonna be like a simple question, like, what's your favorite color?
Yeah. What is your favorite color? But before you answer
Red?
that,
Oh, sorry.
these
Purple?
kids out there today
Oh, fuck them.
that are moving to LA, they've never been to a film festival.
Mm-hmm.
Is it important? Would you say that you have put more reverence in that now that you've been out in LA for, 2+ years?
You mean like making your own short film, or?
Yeah.
No, I do, because the one thing that from these film festivals that I think that I realize, I guess I learned coming back to answering the question from 10 minutes ago.
Red.
When I learned is that the connections you meet there, like they're just from that one short film, and we didn't go to too many festivals. We went to like 6 maybe,
I feel like
7 or
we
so.
went to more than that.
Well, 6 seems like a lot, so I mean.
It played
over the year.
You mean
though.
physically?
Physically going.
Yeah,
No, we played it a lot more.
Yeah.
But physically, we went to maybe 6 or so, 7.
Yeah.
And with going to all those film festivals, the connections and the people that we met from there, we met a lot of directors, a lot of producers, other actors and stuff. That there's a familiar thing with these people, and a lot of these people are creating more content. Right. I mean, like I know you guys have worked from people that you've met. I know you did a film.
My film's premiering this Friday at the Marina Del Rey Film Festival.
Awesome. From somebody you met there.
Way to
Exactly.
plug.
We interviewed him.
Yeah, friend of the show, Jake.
Nice. Yeah, so I think it's really important because the most important thing I think really in making it is the connections here and who you're meeting and who you're talking to. You can audition. I think the worst way to really break into the business is just focusing on auditioning as an actor. That gives you the lowest odds of anything. Like basically you really need to take your career into your own hands, make your own work. Like you could do shit on a cell phone now and just put it on YouTube. You could get following. There's so many things.
Know it?
Yeah, you can just do on that. And then taking it to a film festival to another step and then talking to people and networking. I think that's like one of the things to really like you could get lucky and audition and get a job from there. But really, your chances are slim. And that's when they say making it in the business, it's slim. It's because of that, if you're just focusing on that. But really, you need to create your content. You really need to take your career in your own hands, make work. And then from there, your odds are going up to almost like, I don't know. But like you can make it work. And it's, I mean, the odds are still low when you're doing that, but it's a lot better. And the thing is, you're getting cast for stuff that you want because you're creating the work. Like I was even thinking of stuff like thinking of the reverse casting process. We go around looking to get cast in stuff that's already out there. Why don't we go around and look for a script that's already made and be like, oh, I want to play that character. Take the script, maybe buy it, become a producer on it, and then put that script out there. Be like, all right, the lead is already cast. I want to cast everything else. And then just go on the reverse casting on that. Like you think about, but people aren't wired to think like that. People are wired to think differently on that.
Well, let me pose a question to you. And this is not my sentiments at all, but what about people out there, like actors, whatever they say that like, look, I just don't know how to write. I don't know how to direct. I don't know how to shoot. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. So I don't want to even try to touch that stuff. So I'm just going to focus on acting. What do you say to those?
So, I mean, what I say is, that's fine, but you're working at a disadvantage. Like, this is the thing. Like, I feel like...
Well, why are you telling me? I didn't say that. I'm just kidding.
But no, but as an actor, you need to learn the camera. You need to learn, sound. You need to learn everything you're on, because you're working on a film, right? You have to know the whole process of how the film works. You need to know from the editing process, from the casting process, from the producing process. And it makes you a better actor because you're not wasting time too. As if you're just focusing on
it's like an Alex Jones rant.
If you're just focusing on being an actor, then you're just focusing on a small part of what the movie is. Instead of if you're all right, so I know if I'm, just for an example, I'm doing my scene right here and I'm going to be crazy and all over the place. As we know from taking Ryan's class, that shot's not going to be used, and they're probably going to use another shot, which isn't your best work. So you have to know how to work within the box of the camera. You have to know where your eye lines are. And there's certain things that I remember he said that I think about. It's all right, say you're in a guest star role on a show, and it's just getting dry.
Ooh, he's getting. This is my impression of Brian. It's not the paychecks; it's the friends you make. Anyway, go. Okay.
But you're looking at your guest star role. Say you're going to be 60 seconds. That's all you have on this show, right? So you look at 60 seconds as $60. So you're looking at every dollar. How are you going to use that dollar to maximize your screen time right there? So even little things when you're going to the door, you go to open the door and walk out. If you have your back to the door, that's what? 8 seconds? That's $8 that's not going to be used to maximize your time. So what you do is the one thing that we've learned from this is when you're going to open the door, you maybe turn around and give another look and walk out as you're kind of almost facing the camera. And with that sort of way, you're going to have extra screen time right there.
Right.
So there's little things on that if you're just focusing on an actor, you're not going to learn about that stuff. That's not stuff you're going to see. You're also breaking down a script too. To be a writer, you need to really understand how a script is broken down from a writer's perspective, because then there's act 1, 2, and 3. If you are giving everything you got in a crying scene and just going balls to the wall in your scene on act 1, where are you going to go to? It doesn't really make sense.
You're going to go home.
You're going to go home. but you have to understand how to build your character arc. There's lots of things that really, it's not just about acting. Acting's about filmmaking.
What about the people that are you know what? I got that stuff. I got a great script, but I have no money. What do I do?
You know what? Do you have an iPhone?
Yeah, but this is an action film. It requires a lot of crazy stuff. What do I do?
You know what?
It's going to be the next Stallone.
This is what you do. You take that action film, you put it to the side, and you write something that you can make with the tools that you have. So when I first came out here, I wrote and produced a film that I was one of the actors in. It was 2003. And basically I wrote the film all right, what location do we have? We could use this house right here, nice pool and stuff. All right, so I basically wrote it around the location.
This was before YouTube, 2003.
Yeah, it was before YouTube. And actually we won first place at one of the LA short film festivals at it. But it's funny, I look at it now and it's an 18-minute long film, which basically is, I think, double the length it should be. So, I mean, there's things that are good about it.
Is this the one where you were in a pool?
Yeah. Did I show you that one?
Yeah, I watched it.
Yeah.
No, you were really good in it.
Yeah, thank you.
It was a weird one for sure.
But the thing is, the first, the exposition of it was just way too long in the beginning. And then I think midway through it started to pick up a little bit, because then the relationships were there and it started to work. We had a fight scene in it. And I mean, I really enjoyed it. You know what? I got cast for a feature film that day and I had to turn it down.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
because
for
of that.
Wonderland with Val Kilmer.
I don't remember that movie.
He was the John Holmes, the porn star.
Interesting.
So they were shooting on our first day of production, and I'm producer and I'm the actor and I'm doing that.
You couldn't bail.
No, and this is the thing. I knew the writer of the film, and
do you regret it?
Could have changed your trajectory. You could have been in porn.
The thing is,
you could have been the next Batman, dude.
I don't know if because the thing is, I remember looking at it at that time and I was there's no way I could get out of this. We already hired our whole set. We had 12 people coming. We had a cameraman. We had a giant white flag set up in the backyard from the night before. There were so many things that were just set up.
Johnny got out of when he did it for his other short film, though.
I just had a callback, though. I was only gone for like 2 hours.
He was the director, actor, producer, and he left set.
So actually, this is kind of a funny story.
When you have that control, you can do whatever the hell you want, man.
It's kind of a funny story how I got. So I knew the writer, and the writer was like, I want to introduce you to the director. So we went on the set. They were building the set and everything, and I went to go see the director. And I had longer hair then, so I basically made my hair really like froey and curly. And I went to a thrift store and got these really tight polyester pants and like had the shirt like open. I wanted to dress like that John Holmes sort of character.
Don't pretend that wasn't in your closet.
That was in my closet.
Or you've slowly morphed into
So I went in there and the director started laughing. He's like, oh, I love this. And we started talking and rapping and that was it. And then I got a call a day before to come in. He's like, oh, he wants you in the scene. And there was only like a few people in a party scene with like Val Kilmer, Lisa Kudrow, and like it was just I know,
man.
And I had to turn it down. It was like,
was that scene in the movie? Did you see it?
I didn't even see the movie. I have the movie. I have the movie, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna watch this, and I never watched the movie.
Well, the good thing is no one's ever heard of it. So
Yeah.
You have a VHS or?
No, I have it on DVD actually.
Cool.
But in that short that you made, you guys have you guys seen it?
I feel I've seen your reel. Is it pieces?
Brian
Somewhat.
played this like dude that was like, I want to say slow,
Yeah,
mentally challenged, basically.
He got in an accident, and he was basically only in present time.
Can you give us a little simple Jack right now?
And he was also what, like swimming naked in a pool?
Yeah. Like
so
he was with a girl, and he's like,
Yeah.
want to go swimming? And she's like, okay. So he just takes his clothes off and jumps in the pool, and she's like, but he has no judgment on anything.
This was fresh off of Forrest Gump's.
Yeah. No, I didn't go full retard. So.
Whoa, dude. Nah, yeah, they say never do that.
What's the log line? Give us a log line so these guys know what happened.
So it's about this this guy.
That's the log line? It's about this guy?
Well, there's two friends from college, and the one character that I play, his name's Kevin, and he basically got in a car. He was like, all right, so these two guys are friends. I'm great at log lines. So these two guys are friends in college. And since Kevin got in the accident, he's basically in present time and everything. And the other guy, John, basically lived in Kevin's shadow because Kevin was always the best at like sports and always getting the girls and this. So now John comes and he's basically this guy now who's got the girlfriend and got everything. And then his friend Kevin is basically this simple character right now that's just dealing in present time. And John and his girlfriend are having, tough time because he's this like controlling sort of like guy that needs things to happen. And Kevin's just this guy that's just in the moment and free. And throughout the movie, you realize that she really wants what Kevin is, and just that man just to kind of be present and in the moment and stuff, and just really is not happy with John. So even with Kevin being in this accident, he's still taking away his girlfriend. And then John comes out like really, really upset. Like, what are you doing? He's like, what the fuck are you doing? Because they go in the pool and they have a kiss, but it's like more of an innocent kiss. And he's like, what the fuck are you doing? And he was just like, we're just kissing. Like, no big deal about it. It's no judgment. But he gets so pissed off and he comes in and starts like fighting him and everything. And then,
Did he have a catchphrase like Forrest Gump?
We were just kissing.
It's just a kiss, right?
Just kiss.
How's that?
No, it's just a kiss, baby.
So yeah, I mean, it was a fun film to do. It was a 3-day shoot that we did. And it was cold because it was, I think we shot it in like October. And we didn't think that the weather was going to be that cold. And I'm standing naked in a pool and I'm shaking.
Totally naked?
Yeah.
Whoa.
And the actress was naked too.
Dude.
Can't believe it.
And they weren't even rolling. It was weird.
No.
It wasn't Christo involved in
He
that?
was the director on it. Yeah.
Oh, he directed it?
Yeah, he directed it.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
All right.
And then me and my buddy James, we wrote it. And then he came in, changed a couple things, but like, and then I was actually, three of us were producers on it. And I was the guy who worked with the editor. So I kept coming in and working with the editor and being like, no, we got to change this.
That's the most tedious job, right?
It is. But one thing
hates.
that I think was really interesting that I learned from that on the editing side is he changed the written script and made like this actor, Kevin, like my guy, like these psychic things where he'd look up and he gave him flashbacks to things and he'd come back and say something which wasn't in the script. But on the editing side, with him making that, it made the character a little more mystical and a little more something's more to this character than meets the eye. And it actually made it work a lot better.
That sounds like a hell of an editor to
Yeah.
that vision and execute.
I think we got him. at USC. He was just graduating, and he like back then there was like no real internet stuff.
Right.
So there was a board, I guess, like a board where they'd post things like looking for editor for this and this. So we found it from there and called this guy, and I think it was like $500. He did this, and
that's what we need for this other film.
No, but we have the editor right now. Is working on it.
That's true.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
And that's with coloring and sound, and we'll see what happens.
So
with
it's
that,
done.
but,
Is that what you're telling me?
I don't know if it's done yet, but it's being worked on. It's in post.
Hurry up and wait.
It's done.
Hurry up and wait.
It's done. So I'm curious, actually. I know you've been acting for a long time. You did acting in New York too.
Yeah.
How does it compare to here?
I actually
you missed that town.
SNL, dude.
I really enjoyed acting in New York a lot better than LA.
Burn, LA.
Well,
Take that.
this is a thing.
You know what, dude? This is surviving Hollywood,
Sorry.
Not surviving New
New
York.
Surviving
Sorry,
Queens.
man.
But also, that's when you first started out.
It's true too. It's when I first started out. I had that like my early 20s sort of like, yeah, let's do this. I'm gonna take like this whole city by the storm,
Yeah.
And
Take it by the storm.
so I worked a lot. But the thing is, like, I had an acting class there, and it was a great class too, because it was my coach there. He was on soaps for 30 years. He was on this show Edge of Night. He was like these lead characters. At one point he was the highest paid soap actor.
Him or his evil twin brother?
It was him. He was on like Another World. He was, he had good credits, and he had this acting class where we would have 2 VHS recorders, and the actor would come in with a VHS tape, which anybody doesn't know, that's a VCR.
I very well versed in those.
So we would have one cameraman, we would have one for one person, one cameraman for the other, and he would mark it out like it was like a hot set, like it was like a soap or a television. And he'd be like, okay, on this line, I need you to go and hit this mark. I need you to come over here. We're going to do a stack shot here, and then we're going to close up for your close up. So that's like the language he talked. So we got really used to doing that. And like, it was great because like we would have our video and we would take it home and see it every class. And we would kind of see what we did wrong and see what we did right. And I got used to really like picking up a script, and I'd be able to pick up a script 20 minutes before, 6 or 7 page script, and then jump right on and do it. And I love doing that. I would do like 6 or 7 scripts a week a lot of times. And it's funny because when you first get a big script and you do that, you're like, wow, this is like overwhelming. I can't do this. But if you're like on a TV show and you're used to getting scripts all the time, your brain gets trained for it, and it becomes a lot easier.
I agree.
Than you think it is.
Just like doing scenes in class.
Yeah, I think a class is great doing and that's one thing too. I think you should always be in a class or doing stuff to kind of keep your tools sharp.
Keep that muscle sharp.
I like my tools dull, but
but sometimes using class like as a workshop, because you're not like. There are some things you are learning from the class, but you don't want to be there in a person who's like, no, I have to teach you things. You already know, like you were saying when you first got here, Johnny. I'm pointing to Johnny. I'm realizing we're on a podcast,
audio medium.
So Johnny, you were saying
we're on video too, guys.
That's right. Hey, what's up? So when you got here, you didn't really know anything. You were coming out, and that is usually the best place to be, because a lot of times, if you are learning stuff from like, say, like a local theater or like college and stuff, you could get a lot of bad habits, especially learning theater stuff. If you have a lot of theater habits and you come into television or film, there's a lot of bad habits that you have to learn. There's a lot of great stuff that you get from theater on like stamina and stories and really being sharp with certain things, but a lot of like movements that are broad with theater, it's like those are bad habits that you have to get rid of. I've heard where the best people to start out are people with no habits, and then you start to get your habits from there.
Children.
So you actually it's true. Like I actually feel like the whole acting learning circle is basically you start as a child that knows nothing. They're the best actors in the world, because they're not thinking of anything. They're just present in the moment.
And the worst.
But once you start to go around the circle, you start to learn things about acting. That's when you start to get thrown off your rails a little bit. Like the worst times are usually probably your first couple years when you're learning how to act. you're just falling on your face. And you're like, wait, when I first started, I was good. It's because now you have so much knowledge and you're in your head thinking about stuff. Then you have to go all the way back around the circle to get to the point where you're like, oh, fuck this. I don't want to think about this stuff anymore. And then you don't think about anything and you get back to where you were with a child. But what you have in that whole circle is the experience of acting and what to do, what not to do, and you throw it away and you don't think about it anymore. And then you just become that child again. Once you get to the point where you become that child again, that's when you start becoming an actor.
My God, let me simplify it for the folks at home. Get role, learn line, film part, get check.
Learn line.
End of podcast. Thank you. Thank you, Aaron.
Learn line. I say line here. This is where I talk.
But yeah, New York, so I'm getting back to this. So one thing that my coach said there, he was like, for every 8 things you do in New York equals 1 thing in LA. And
what do you mean?
I never understood what that meant until I moved to LA. So my record in one day in New York, I had 12 auditions. And if you say that to an LA actor, they're like, wait, that's impossible. How did you get to them? You can't do that. You can't even
drive to 12 auditions.
Yeah, like you have 3 auditions in a day. You're lucky if you hit all of them.
Right.
And that's the thing too. In New York, the energy is so high. It's just flowing. It's like, also, that was a day where there wasn't internet stuff too. So I was getting the backstage paper, which came out every Tuesday night. And actually it would come out Wednesday morning, but there were some newsstands that it came out Tuesday night. And I would go to that newsstand because I would be one of the first ones to get it. I would, at night, what I would do is I would have a stack of manila envelopes and I had headshots and I would just mail to every one of them.
Black and white?
A black and white probably back then. Yeah, I think it was black and white. And then what I would do is I would mail, and then I'd get the Ross reports, which basically was a little booklet which had all of the agencies and shows in pre-production and managers. And what I would do is every day after that, about 5 to 10 headshots a day I would mail out. Every single day.
Mail out to production companies?
Casting, agents. And you know how many responses I got from them?
10.
Almost 0. But what would happen is whenever I would be in that moment, I would get calls from nowhere. So I don't know where a lot of these headshots went. I didn't get directly, because I would keep track. I sent to this agent. And the thing is, I never got a call from that agent, but I would get calls like, hey, got your, number. We want to know if you're available for this film or to come into audition or this. And I don't know where a lot of these calls came from. Did you
ever just go in person and drop it off?
Yeah, I would do that too.
Wouldn't that be a little more effective?
No, because I'm sending out 10 headshots in a day instead of going out and being effective to one. So I would do the mailing and then maybe I would do this and in New York too, you do a lot of plays. I did plays. I did stand-up comedy in New York. I had an improv troupe I traveled with. But
you can do the thing where you were submitting your headshots and going to improv. You can do all that in LA. So I'm just wondering, you're answering that question.
You don't do that
New
anymore.
York's better.
Because
you can do plays.
There were a lot more things it felt like you can do. The energy is a slower pace out here than out there.
But technically, you can send your headshots here.
It's a different energy.
So this is interesting. So our mutual friend Marianne moved to New York.
Right.
Oh, I thought she moved to Europe.
Temporarily, though,
Temporarily for New York.
Right.
So I saw her, we saw her the other night, you know? So I was asking her about New York because I told her my experience and she goes, I love New York. And I said about that one thing with the 10 things. She's like, you're absolutely right. There's
that was a good impression of her.
She's like, there are so many things that are moving in New York that she's doing and she's auditioning because there's plays and this. And people go to plays in New York. Yeah, people see you in New York and plays. Out here, the plays that I've seen.
It's just a vehicle to get on TV.
Yeah, and a lot of them aren't that great. A lot of...
Wait, but so to answer the question, it's energy. It's because it's very similar.
It is the energy. It's very different.
Which is personal.
Yeah. But everybody there is really on it. You know what I mean?
But
over here, it's but
it's weird. Everybody there isn't in the industry. Everybody here is. Yeah. But there's so much more movement. And the thing is, you guys been to New York City, right?
Yeah.
So it's
I love the city.
Oh man,
it's the best.
I love it. And the thing is, you can go out to say even the nightlife. You go out to a bar, and any night of the week, it's rocking. And if you're not liking that one, just go next door, and that one's rocking too. It's
but LA, It's
not.
No, LA, it's like, hey, we're closing. What? It's just 1 o'clock. Yeah,
Dude,
we're closing.
The nightlife out here is horrible. And in the last few years,
but you were 20 in New York. You're 40 here. I'm just asking.
Well, because this is what when I moved straight here from my 20s.
Here comes the truth.
I went out and I just didn't like going out in LA. I didn't like the vibe. I didn't like because people out here in the bars are not approachable. Like when you go to New York and you're hanging out in a bar, you could be there for 3 hours. You'll probably be able to talk to half the people in the bar. Everyone's like, hey, what's going on? Hey, where you from? Guy or girl, don't matter.
Hey, the Yankees.
Yeah. Or whatever. You
Hey,
could just
the
talk
Mets.
about anything.
It's because people are vapid out here as well.
Everybody has their bubbles, you know? And also with New York too, you are traveling on public transportation. You're in a subway crammed up with other people. So you don't have that space that you have around here. Out here, you're in a car all the time and you're used to being in your safe bubble space. And I think a lot of people really get used to that out here and they don't really break out of their comfort zone. People in New York break out of their comfort zone. It's different.
So let me ask you a quick question. On the same topic. So there's an acting coach I've worked with out here from New York, and he swears that New York actors are terrible auditioners. LA actors are fantastic auditioners, but overall, when it comes to actually booking a project, the New York actor is 100 times better than the LA actor. Do you find that that's true?
You know what?
In terms of auditioning, he says New York's not good.
I would actually describe myself that way. Like, I don't think I'm a great auditioner, but I feel like once I'm on set, I feel like I bring it, you know, and I give it all, and I'm there in the project, you know. But my auditioning skills, I feel like they aren't as sharp as they could be. And I feel like they're good until I don't get a call or a callback or anything, and I'm just like, oh, you know, it's like, what am I like? The one thing that I still haven't figured out is self-taping. Like, self-taping for me,
it's the future.
Hasn't worked. You know, I'm still trying to figure it out.
What can't you figure out? Like, what about it is?
Well, what I can't figure out is why I don't get a call from them.
But don't you find it's?
Well, I feel like that happens a lot, though.
It probably, and that's
because
probably what it is too.
So many more people.
But that's probably what it is too.
But
you
do
know?
you submit your best take when you get the chance to do a self-tape?
No, he submits his worst take.
Well, I mean, that's why it's better.
Some people don't. Some people like, that's fine.
Don't you think that's the reason why it would be better?
You know what? I haven't thought about that, Aaron. Thank you.
Whatever.
He sent the one with his face cut off. That's the one right there. That's the weird
Aaron's asking, are you willing to go 100 deep in takes? 500.
No, I'm closer probably to you. Like,
Dude,
I'll do like
the first couple. And
exactly,
that's it,
exactly.
Man.
I mean, you guys, I've done self tapes with you guys. Like, I'll do one. You guys, you want to do more? I'm like, nah, I think we got it right.
Right. Yeah, that is true.
I haven't liked that.
But then I ask you guys, I'm like, what do you think? Do you think it was good? And you're like, yeah, like, I think it was good, you know? So it's like, I'm not, if I got from you, it's like, I don't feel like, because there was one that you guys helped me on that I feel like I wasn't hitting it. And we did about 5 or 6 till we got to it, because there was some, and I feel like it got better. Yeah. So
I forget, but
in the real world, you're only going to get maybe 1 or 2 chances if you win in person. If you're doing take 35, it's like you're never going to get a take 35.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Like,
exactly.
But you have ask Kubrick if take 35 is necessary, and he'll tell you don't get it till 100.
Yeah, David Fincher does 99 takes.
Sure, but
what about Clint Eastwood? He's a 1 or 2 take. What about Woody Allen? He's a 1 or 2 take guy.
That's right.
Ooh,
I worked with that guy.
So you're saying that Woody Allen's better than Kubrick?
Anyway, what was
comedy wise? Yeah.
Well, yeah.
You worked with him.
What was?
Yeah. So I was on Sweet and Lowdown.
Is Woody
the movie?
I didn't see
Was
it.
your line? These pretzels are making me
No.
thirsty?
So it's funny. He auditions every single person in his movie. So they always.
Well, even the name actor.
I think Scarlett Johansson got.
Well, he picks every person.
Okay.
So he picks all the people in his movies, but like in New York, they'd be like the big open calls for the Woody Allen movies. So you'd wait in line for a while with your headshot, you know, and he would be sitting there with a couple other people, and he'd be like, "Hi, what's your name?" Or like, you know, what's. So I went one time, and I was like, "Oh, great to meet you, Mr. Allen. Here's my headshot," and I dropped out. Oh, sorry. I mean, sorry. Metaphorically speaking, of course.
Wait, so you did the impression as you did,
and he laughed, right?
Okay.
And then I get a call. I get cast as being a jazz musician in a club that he's shooting this whole thing in.
Yeah.
So, I was in a Woody Allen movie.
Okay.
Do you think he is guilty for everything that people don't like him for?
No comment.
Oh,
no, I don't know something. I don't know something.
I really don't know. Right. I don't know.
What was like working on set with him? What was that experience like?
It was cool because basically he had his whole crew set everything up and they did a run through, and then he would come out for last looks. Like he wasn't sitting there the whole time. He came out for last looks. He looked at everything and he goes, "Okay, cool. Let's go." They shot it once, and I think they did once more, and they're like, "All right, you guys are wrapped." I was like, "Wait, that was it?" It was like a very short shoot.
And you were like, "Well, can I get one more?"
Right? I'm like, "Wait, I don't think I gave it my all on this one." No, but it was very short.
Wait, was he in the movie that you shot? Was he in the movie? Or was he just directing?
I don't think he was in. That was the one, Samantha Morton. She got nominated for Best Actress. She played a mute in the movie.
Samantha Morton.
And I think it was Sean Penn, Samantha Morton, Sweet and Low Down. He was like this. He was a jazz. It's one of his not well-known ones, but he was like a jazz. But it was a great movie. He was a jazz musician guy.
Sean Penn was?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was Sean Penn. And then Samantha Morton was a guy that he was in love with, or it was a girl that he was in love with, and she was a mute, so she couldn't really communicate, but she loved the music. So it was a really interesting movie. I haven't seen it in a long time.
Concept. Anything you picked up from his directing, like at all?
Not at all. He was a one-take guy, two-take guy.
Do you felt like he cared or no?
Yeah, I felt like he did.
Oh, he just he knew what he wanted.
I mean, it was a scene where they were in a club and they were walking, so it was probably not a. It was a very quick sort of scene, so I'm sure he wasn't really focused on it. Like I wasn't in one of the heavy acting scenes, which I'm sure would have been very different.
Okay. I feel like he would care. Why else would he audition everybody?
Yeah,
like you're not gonna sit there through like rounds of auditions if you don't care.
Yeah. No, he cares. Like
I've been to auditions where the people don't seem to care.
The directors are?
No, not he cares.
Yeah, exactly. They show up when there's like 5 people left.
Would you let Woody Allen babysit your kid if you had a girl?
Okay.
No comment.
Okay.
All right, but you also work with comedy legend Will Ferrell.
That was great.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, so that was I think that was from a mailing, or like I don't know how I got to the casting director of SNL, but I was actually called for 5 different episodes. Only one of them made it to air.
You're a series regular.
I guess so. Yeah. One of them made it to air.
Like a frat guy.
2 of them got cut. Two of them were cut before, because they do 2 shows on Saturday. They do the 8 to 10 show, which is a 2-hour show, and then they have meetings and they cut what didn't work, and then at 11:30 they start the hour-and-a-half show. So, and then they have 2 full studio audiences for both, like they're a live show. So on 2 of the 5, it got cut before the Saturday. So I knew on Friday the skit didn't work as they were working through it throughout the week.
What was the skit?
I don't even remember on those. 2 of them, one of them I had that got cut after the 2-hour show. So I knew right before the live show I wasn't going to be on. And then they brought that skit back. I had a line in it. And then they brought it back and it made it to the final show. And it was the last skit. And everything was running long. And the skit got cut at 12:45 at night.
What was the line?
So I ad-libbed it and they kept it. It was a Jimmy Fallon. He was playing Carson Daly on a beach thing. And he goes, "Hi, I'm Carson Daly for MTV and I'm a tool." And I go, "I love you, Carson," with like a deep voice. And he goes, "That was weird." And then it got a laugh,
Yeah.
So they kept it there.
Jimmy Fallon. Do that, man. Do that in the show.
I know John Goodman was the guest on that one. And then I forget who was the guest on the other time it was cut. But the one that did made it to air, I was in the cold open. And that was with Will Ferrell.
Can't cut the cold open.
I know. I was like, I'm good here. He was playing George Bush, and I was his college frat boy buddy.
Yeah,
and
a young George Bush in the college days.
It was before he was president. It was 1999, I think this was. I know the guest was Heather Graham.
Pre-9/11, huh?
So it was while he was running, or what?
Yeah, it was probably right before, because what was he, 2000?
The 2000 election.
Yeah. So it was right before. Yeah, it was him and Gore in the sketch. They were doing that sort of thing. And Heather Graham was on it. I think Ricky Martin was the musical guest. But it was great because like we did this, and then right before we went on live, Will Ferrell we we get around in like a huddle. He's like, "You guys got this. You guys got this." And he was like pumping us up, and I'm like, "Wow, he's fun. Like he was fun to work with."
That's fun.
And we went up, and I try to do different things. Like the one thing I did to try to make myself a little like stand out is
grabbed his ass.
We were in like the Oval Office, and I'm walking out, and as I'm walking out, I walk out and I just hit the top of the door. And I just kind of little things, like little actor things like that. I just came and just hit the top. And then as he was doing, I'm like, yeah, like really like.
And then Will was like, "Hey, don't touch the door."
No, it was good.
It's a really bad set.
It was good. People that saw it were like, "Hey, I like what you did with the door." No, for real. Like friends that have seen it and stuff.
You know what you telling about touching the door reminds me of the one time we went to that. We don't need to say his name. That's TV celebrity's house, and he was telling us about that scene that he did, and he was like, "Oh, when I did the thing with the wallet," I'm like, "What the? Nobody noticed that."
And then he wanted to touch your door.
Well, why can't you share that on the pod?
Oh, the dude from the popular TV show that
we've talked about it before.
Brian, I have a question.
Yes.
You've told us before when you went there, Jimmy Fallon, one of the nicest people ever on SNL, but what's his name? Horatio Sands.
Yes.
Not nice.
Bit of a
Well, this thing
jerk.
is, Jimmy Fallon was approachable. Like
He liked to talk with
I
people.
talked with him.
seems
Like he
a
was
cool dude.
really cool.
Even Will Ferrell seems pretty cool.
Yeah, Will Ferrell was great. Horatio Sanz was just very like, he was stressed out all the time and just like tunnel vision and working and just like, he was like sweating and like.
That's surprising because he's always laughing with Jimmy in this.
Yeah,
business.
I mean, he just was like not really approachable. Yeah,
and
actually,
he thought he was the next Chris Farley.
John Belushi.
maybe, I don't know. Probably back
I'm just
then,
guessing. I don't know.
I mean,
And where's Horatio now?
He does improv in L.A.
That's cool. He lost a lot of weight,
With
right?
Ben Schwartz, he does like.
doesn't he have a
long form.
podcast?
Does he?
Oh, am I allowed to say that on this?
Who? Yeah,
But he doesn't have a podcast.
we don't
He's
acknowledge
just a
him.
guest. He's just a
yeah.
guest.
Everybody has a podcast.
This is the only podcast that
Yes,
exists.
yes.
That's cool though. What was did you guys rehearse that throughout the week?
Yeah,
What's
we
that
were-
process like? Do they just rehearse every day until shoot day?
No. I think your dress rehearsal is on like the Friday. I didn't get pulled in until like Wednesday or Thursday. I think they call me Wednesday and I might come in and I think I went in for wardrobe one day. And then I think maybe Thursday, Friday, it was rehearsed. And then Saturday you come in and you do the 2 shows. So I think they do the writing on Monday, Tuesday, they decide what they're going to do. And I think then they block it out and then they work it through there.
Nice.
That's what I kind of remember. And it's funny because Will Ferrell's brother used to hang out in Holding, and he'd be like, "Hey, I'm Will Ferrell's brother," and stuff.
the guy from Elf.
Yeah,
right?
he was an elf. Yeah, he was a security guy in the Empire State Building. That's his brother right there. And he would hang out right there, and he looked a lot like him. Like you'd be like, "Wow, it looks like a weird morph version of Will Ferrell."
Is he also an actor then, or is he just
Yeah, he was.
just in the movie?
He was an actor. He
think he
hung
was just
out there.
But he was also played the bodyguard in Will Ferrell's one-man Broadway show where Will Ferrell played George Bush. He had his brother on every night.
Oh, really?
As Secret Service that would just stand there.
That's funny. That's
Now
funny.
you say like a line.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I think his
Couldn't
brother
throw
wanted
his
to be an
brother a
actor.
bone, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd really love to say a line and just shut up, all right?
Yeah.
I'm the star.
Shut up and take your nepotism.
Interesting.
So one more question before Johnny has an audition to get to. So we're gonna have him do a reading
I'm okay
at
right
the
now.
end of this.
There's
Well,
no-
we're still gonna have you do
there's
the
no
reading.
lines, there's no lines.
Well, we're gonna have you do it.
Hell of an audition.
But if you,
Johnny, that was great. I'm casting you for it.
Hi, my name is Johnny.
hey, save it.
Yes.
If you said like when L.A. versus New York, you're like, oh, New York was so much better. Not that I want to keep you here, but why? If New York is like, if you liked New York better after living in both, what keeps you in L.A.?
I like New York better as an actor.
But that's why you're in L.A.
That's why I'm in LA. It's true. The one reason I moved out here was because back then there was no productions in New York. Now there are. But like going back to New York, like it's really hard to kind of start over. And I feel like here.
What do you mean productions? Like it's just all theater in New York?
No. When I was out there was Law and Order. There was Saturday Night Live. There was 2 or 3 soap operas.
And that's all they cast.
David
for?
Letterman, and that was it. And they would have like random movies and stuff. And then I remember Sex and the City came. I was in a couple episodes of that when that came out. Just like as a waiter.
You were
and
Mr. Small.
bartender. Yeah, actually, I was a bartender at a place, and he was a regular there.
Cool.
North. Yeah, what's his name? North Peter North. No,
I forget.
North Peterson.
Peter North.
Good actor though.
no,
Peter
great
North.
actor. He used to be there all the time. And was I saying? Oh yeah. So now there's more productions there. But the thing is, when you're in a place like moving around all the time, sometimes isn't the best. Like some people are like, oh, I just want to go to Atlanta for pilot season, or I want to like, go to Chicago for a couple weeks and see what it's like. It's like, really? You could get lucky on that, and there's people that do, but really, if you want the long game in this, it's about relationships. It's about building and keeping with people and stuff. Like I took off for a few years from the industry in like about 7-8 years ago. Right when I started taking class with you guys again, I was just starting to get back into it again. And, I took off, family, kid, all that stuff. I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing on this. It was just other stuff I was exploring. And then coming back to this, it's just like, all right, well, I have no relationships that I've basically kept from when I first came out here. So I was basically starting over from zero, from nothing. So for the last 6 or 7 years, a lot of it's building the relationships and talking to people and directors that I've worked with and in just lots of, that's what it's about. It's about like, because the thing is, you're working, you have to have a team, there's a family here you need to have. It's like, you need to do this all together. You can't do it alone. Like you need a team behind you. And it's like, there are ways to get that done with that, I
love it, dude.
I agree.
I love it.
Would you ever go back?
I would go back only if I was booked on a show there and I had to relocate for a little bit. I would love that. That would be awesome.
I love New York.
Yeah.
I live there. Just my only problem is the weather. With those winters, dude.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up in New York, so.
That's the only rough part. But I love the city, man. I love that you can just walk around everything, like boom, 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 just walking around.
Exactly.
Over here, dude, driving. I hate driving so much.
Yeah.
It sucks, dude. Anyway. Yeah.
Give us that reading.
So it's no lines?
It's just a commercial, dude.
But you have no lines.
I mean, they didn't send us a script.
Hey, it's never just a commercial.
It was a direct callback.
And your character is older brother, father?
No, it just says
they're going to give you lines.
Hip, casual is what it said.
All right.
Because what if you went in and said, if there were no lines, say, hey, is it okay if I play this character a little racist? And there's no lines. That'd be pretty funny.
And that's the end of our podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, Brian.
Yeah, but wait, we got to talk about me and you were up in fantasy football this week.
Dude, that's right. Shake and Bake is going against the
I zoned out.
Pistachio Pimps.
Yeah.
What? Oh. That's the names?
Well, actually, I don't know. Maybe I changed the name. That was a different league, maybe.
No. You're
Am I still the Noodle Twisters?
Yeah, you're Noodle Twisters.
The Noodle Twisters are going against Shake and Bake.
Shake and Bake, baby.
Week. So if the audience doesn't know, me and Brian are in a fantasy football league. Brian is actually in first place.
Yes, I am.
What's the secret?
5-1, right?
Yeah, something like that.
It's all about the kicker. Am I right?
Well, the secret is every morning I go
draft high.
I run, and while I'm running, I run for about 2.5 miles in the morning. And what I do is I listen to my fantasy football podcast.
Nerd.
And they give you the breakdown. Matthew Berry.
Yeah, Matthew Berry. I listen to Matthew Berry. So it's not necessarily the breakdown, but listening to it every day, you kind of know the trends and know what players to look for and know where to look for that. So it's like I'm just used to. I already know, even just from following it, I'm like, I know what players to avoid in the draft, what players I'm like, oh, I don't want to touch him because it's like, I'm not going to use him for a second round pick because he might get hurt or something like that. So
speaking of,
let's take a look at it real quick while you guys are talking. Go ahead.
Speaking of knowing what to look for, where can our audience find you?
You can find me on Instagram. I think I'm bshakti3.
Do you want people to follow you?
bshakti3. I have a website, brianshakti.com. And that's with all my reels and everything on that.
If they slide into your DMs, is that okay?
Sure.
Would you allow that, or would you pretend not to notice?
It's kind of awkward. But wait, what's a DM?
Direct message.
Oh! I thought you meant something different. Yeah, DM. That's fine. Are
you doing a bit?
Yeah,
you're in a committed relationship.
I am.
Yeah, I was talking about professionally.
Yes.
And then while Johnny's looking for that, now give us the pitch on, because you voted for Trump. Give us the reason we should vote for Trump. Well, give us the reason why.
Well, even if you did, who cares?
Give us the reason we should vote for Trump in this coming election.
Yeah.
Why?
Give us a hot take.
Hey, I don't do political.
All right,
man.
Just trying to cause trouble.
I know you are.
Talking about politics.
Aaron,
looking at your fantasy here, you got Matt Ryan, dude. Matt Ryan
and Lamar Jackson
hasn't even won a game, right? I know they've won one game.
Yeah.
But he's putting up good numbers, though.
Dude, this is why I picked Matt Ryan, right? Matt Ryan last year, I think, was the number 3 ranked quarterback.
You're talking about just like
points wise. And
behind Mahomes and Watson, or what?
Yeah. And the thing is, people don't look at Matt Ryan like, oh, I want Matt Ryan as a quarterback. People want Patrick Mahomes or like,
I would take Mahomes.
Yeah. But the thing is, I got Matt Ryan on the 9th pick.
Right.
Your Mahomes was grabbed on the 1st pick.
Oh my God, the 9th?
Yeah.
Crazy, man.
Actually, I will say you got lucky with Lamar.
Why don't we
I wasn't high on Lamar.
Dude, I was so high on Lamar before the season. I actually reached for him a little bit. And my first pick was a pick that was going in the 2nd round in a lot of drafts. No, I picked Cook.
Whoa.
The Arnold twins.
Thanks, everybody. Are we tuning out?
All right.
I guess we're done.
Unless you guys, we can fit it back up.
I didn't think we were done, but all right.
Did you?
It's fine. If you want to end it, it's fine.
I thought we were done.
We were chatting, dude.
Well, about football.
Yeah, but it's all right.
Phase out. It's all phase out. We'll fit it back up. We'll fit it back up.
How are we going to sing
All right.
this?
I
didn't
am
mean
so
to kill the
sorry.
conversation,
Johnny
guys.
got
No, but
upset.
in the edit, that's
Okay. The podcast is still going.
We'll have a hard cut to this, and they won't even know.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. You know where to find us on
No.
social media.
No,
Finish your thought.
No, it's about
Finish your
Dalvin Cook, dude.
Okay,
I
dude.
picked Dalvin Cook was my first pick, and he was going 2nd pick. But I saw he was a first pick like 2 years ago. He was the first pick like 2
Are we
years
still
ago.
talking about football, guys?
Yeah.
You wanted this.
And people stood away from him because he was hurt. And they were like, oh, could he really So
What about Baker Mayfield? Who's got him?
He's overrated, dude, right now.
He was great last year.
Hey, we still got to record the intro too,
Anyway, thanks for coming on, Brian. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
dude.
thanks for having me, guys. I know my management's been trying to get me on this for a while.
Finally made
There
it
it is.
clinch.
I mean, if Aaron would stop dodging the emails.
Right?
Brian, you're one of our best friends.
All right, dude. Get it.
Toast.
Thank you.
I just want to say, you got to come on more, man.
All right. I'm glad we brought it up.
Yeah.
Did you already do plugs? We did plugs?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Guys, make sure you rate and review us on iTunes. We need those 5 stars. And then remember, if you roast us in the comments, we will read the reviews. Find us on Twitter, Instagram, Surviving Hollywood Podcast, Surviving Hollywood, Holly W. Is that what it is?
You'll figure it out.
One day we will.
I'd love it if you rated us on
I did. Didn't you see my 1 star? No, that wasn't me. I saw the podcast yesterday.
He's on the other. He was a guest on the other podcast. That's what happened.
Oh, yeah. Bobby B.
Bobby B.
All right. I'm
Thanks,
rating
guys.
it.